So in this lesson, we're going to take a look at how to solve quadratic equations by undoing, excuse me, which is just a fancy way of saying we're going to solve the equation. And we're also going to take a look at a new method called completing the square. So the steps in the right-hand column this time are how to solve an equation. So I would guess that none of you should need this information, but just out of habit, I threw some information over there. So we solve an equation by using order of operations backwards to determine what to cancel first. So looking at our first equation, we've got 3x squared minus 4 equals 68. So we're going to cancel the minus 4 first. The way we do that is by applying the golden rule, which is whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. And then we're going to repeat, meaning use order of operations backwards to determine what to cancel. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3 using the golden rule. And then to cancel the square, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Alright, now we know how to simplify a radical, so I would expect all of your answers to be in simplest radical form. Let me back up for just a second. When we take a square root, we get 2 answers, positive and negative, because a negative times a negative would give us a positive answer. So make sure you always have that plus or minus sign when you take the square root. And then 24 has 4 as a perfect square factor, so that comes out of the radical. Square root of 4 is 2. And then the 6 is left over because 24 is 4 times 6. Take a look at a couple more. So our next one, solving our equation, we're going to add 20 to both sides. Divide both sides by 4. Take the square root, remembering that we have a positive and a negative answer. This one is nice because 25 and 4 are both perfect squares, so square root of 25 is 5, square root of 4 is 2. The one on the bottom looks a little bit more complicated, but we're still just going to work from the outside in towards the variable. So the first thing I'm going to do on this one is add 20 to both sides. Taking the square root. Now on this one, you can finish solving the equation and then simplify your radical, or you can simplify your radical and then finish solving. It really doesn't matter which order. I like my radicals in simplest form, so I'm going to go ahead and do that first. And the perfect square factor of 120 is just 4, it looks like. So I'm going to move my work here a little bit. And we have x plus 3 equals plus or minus. We've got 1 pair here, 2. And then we've got 5 times 3 is 15, times 2 is 30. And then to finish solving, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. And when we format this, we always put the radical on the end. So it's negative 3 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 30. So the 2 answers for this equation are negative 3 plus 2 times the square root of 30, and then negative 3 minus 2 times the square root of 30.